All right, guys, it is Ron here. I am back. Have you guys heard what is going on? There's a lot going on here, guys. I'm gonna hit you up with the updates and let you know what's going on with these U.S. drone strikes that are actually taking place on Yemen. And we've actually gotten some word from Russia on this one. And Russia's basically telling the United States that we need to stop the aggression against the Houthis. And that's an interesting perspective from Russia. So, I mean, we've been seeing all these different headlines, we've heard the reports, but let's just go ahead and pause for a second here, right? Let's think about this just for a second. What is really going on behind the scenes, behind these complex geopolitical dramas? You got the 2024 presidential election right around the corner. You got Joe Biden basically front running for the Democrats, and you have former President Donald Trump trying to get that seat back. And you saw the performance that Donald Trump had in the Iowa caucus, right? We're seeing what's going on with New Hampshire. I'm pretty sure you guys are well aware of what's going on right here. Um, but then of course, there's just all sorts of wild propaganda going on right now surrounding these elections. I don't know if you guys heard about the Georgia prosecutor on Trump's case. Apparently, paid for trips with the district attorney Willis. I don't know if you guys had heard about that. There were some court filings on that one. So you got that going on. Then of course you got the E. Jean Carroll trial. I mean, it's absolutely bananas how much is going on right here, right? Um, we heard that Tim Scott is actually endorsing Trump. So lots of new developments, but I want to share with you guys something that Trump had said regarding World War III and how close we may very well be to that. Okay. And this is a little bit concerning to say the least. But before we get into that, if you could just go ahead and drop a quick like for the video, I totally appreciate that. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are freaking amazing. I love that we get to hang out together and communicate. I love these lives. I get to hear directly from you guys immediately. You get to respond to me. I get to respond to you. And that's definitely what's up. Freedom of speech, right? Freedom of speech. So let's go ahead and start with Yemen, right? So the U.S. has basically redesignated the Houthis as like terrorists after these attacks, multiple attacks on these commercial shipping vessels, right? And this is what's been going on lately in the Red Sea, right? And this is going to affect our economy here, gas prices, oil prices, the stock market, oil commodity prices on the exchanges. I mean, this is huge. This is huge. And I'm not even going to say what it's going to be. It already is huge. And we're going to be seeing more and more of this in the coming days and weeks. But here's the thing, guys. You got to ask ourselves, why now? Why is it, why is all of this taking place right now? And don't even get me started on this whole disease X, right? We kind of saw a lot of things kind of unfolding just before and during the 2020 presidential elections, right? Why is it that so much activity has to unfold right around the elections? Like, it really makes me wonder, and I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering too, what's really going on, right? Is it, like, is it about like protecting commercial interests? Is it about the business owners, the entrepreneurs, like the shareholders? Like, there's got to be more to the story. Now, this is kind of like a tangled web of international relations here. Every move has a counter move. I like to use chess um, as a kind of like a parallel to what we're dealing with here with these international relations between the United States, China, Russia, Taiwan, Israel, Hamas, Russia, Ukraine. So it's a chess game. You only have you generally have a certain number of moves and certain types of moves, and based on the moves you make, that may open up new options. But that may also close off some options and box you in. So we need a really strategic uh, president in office, number one. We also need a very strategic military intel that can guide the president to be able to make smart moves. Now, are we making the best moves right now? That remains to be seen, to be honest with you. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Do you think President Biden's making the right moves while he's in office? Let me know in the comments if you support the decisions that President Biden's making right now. But I definitely want to share with you guys what Donald Trump has said about World War III and, how we could very well be on the brink of World War III. But I want you to hear from the man himself. But in regards to the whole Houthi situation, right? What's Russia's response? Well, Russia is basically criticizing the United States for its actions in Yemen, urging a stop to the aggression. Now, to me, that sounds like, okay, Russia kind of wants peace. That's the way I'm taking it. But, let's be real. Russia is genuinely concerned about Yemen. Or are they? Or are they, right? So, I guess the real question is Russia genuinely concerned about Yemen? Or maybe they're playing a strategic game, kind of deflecting attention from the Ukraine? Who really knows at this point? Again, it is a chess game. Now, speaking of Russia, their ties to the Middle East are, let's just say they're very interesting, right? To say the least, right? And, they got a defense relationship with Iran. They're supplying drones used against Ukraine. But what's the end game here? What's the end game? Russia's involvement with non-state actors like Hezbollah during the Syrian civil war wasn't just about defeating ISIS. It was also about influence. It was about power plays. It was about making the West's life a little bit harder. But again, Russia's coming from a position where the U.S. has placed sanctions on Russia, and this has definitely impacted Russia's economy, right? So this is an interesting situation that we're in. Now, are we on the brink of World War III? Well, let's see what former President Donald Trump has to say about that. What's going on, Cash? I see you there, my friend, in the comment section. But let's hear from Donald Trump and hear what he has to say about how close we may or may not be to World War III. Let's listen.
Hey, Mr. President, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Clearly, it's no secret that our country is in chaos. The world is in chaos. What happened with Yemen and the missile strikes the last few days, Ukraine, Palestine, we don't even know where the Secretary of Defense is right now. Are we on the brink of World War III?
I think we're the closest that we've ever been. And, Joe, this won't be a regular war. This is not going to be, as I say, army tanks running back and forth, shooting each other. These are weapons of mass destruction, the likes of which nobody's ever seen. I've seen them. And this is obliteration. This is not a world war like we are used to. World War I, World War II were terrible, horrible. This is so much bigger than that. This is, like annihilation. And we have people that can't put two sentences together. Our president can't speak. He can't speak a full sentence. And he's negotiating with Putin, and he's negotiating with President Xi of China, who's very tough and very smart. I say that, and the media says, oh, you called him smart. Yeah, he's smart. He's very smart. He controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. I'd say that's smart. And he's a guy who loves China. And these are people that love their country, or certainly whether they love their country or not, they want to make their country great again, right? Like we're doing. We were doing things at this country that nobody's ever seen. Then COVID came in. We did a great job with that, but never got the respect for the job we did with COVID. Nobody knew what it was. All over the world, it was ripping countries apart. The damage China did, and I always said it came from Wuhan, and it did. It came from Wuhan, and it was the damage done to this world. $61 trillion, they figure. That's more than China has. That's more than everybody has put together. $61 trillion in damage. I don't know if you've ever heard that number, but that's, wow. and it's probably a relatively accurate number. They really put the world back many, many.
I had not heard that figure before. Have you guys heard that figure before? $61 trillion? I never actually heard a figure put to the total damage that was associated with the whole shutdown of essentially the world and the global economy.
Many years what they've done, and it's so sad to see that. But nobody's ever done the job. We rebuilt the military. We gave the largest tax cuts in history. We gave the largest regulation cuts in history. Even from a health standpoint, right to try. We did right to try. That space age stuff. We have the best labs, the best doctors in the world. And we'd have things that won't come out for 4 or 5 or 6 years. They won't be approved. And I got it done. And they've been trying to get that done for 54 years. I got it done. And it saved thousands and thousands of lives. Nobody wanted it. The health companies didn't want it. The labs didn't want it. The doctors didn't want it. And the country didn't want it because everybody felt they were going to have liability. I got everybody in a room. The insurance companies didn't want it. I got them in a room. And I said, look, the patient's going to sign no liability to anybody. And they were willing to do that. And we've saved thousands and thousands of lives. And it's shown in many cases that the drugs really work. The drug companies didn't want it because they didn't want to take terminally.
Did they work? Did the drugs really work? You guys let me know. Some of you guys have used it. Someone who has. I'd love to get you guys' feedback on that. But Donald Trump is saying we're pretty close to a World War III situation, and that it would be pretty much, an annihilation type of situation. Now, the bigger question, could this escalate what we're dealing with right now? Could this escalate to a full-blown war involving the U.S., the U.K., and the Houthis? I mean, it seems unlikely, right? The U.S. and the U.K., they're not looking for another Afghanistan situation. They're not looking for a ground invasion, are they? I really don't personally think so. Probably not on the table. That's just my take. And maybe I'm just being optimistic, right? But remember, guys, this is an election year. Selling a new war to the public, I don't know, guys. Not the easiest task, right? And of course, let's not forget about Israel. Let's not forget about Hamas. The UK's position seems pretty much the same as it's always been in terms of support for Israel. Despite the varying opinions among its citizens. It's kind of a reminder, of how domestic politics and international policy, can be worlds apart. But what are you guys thinking, right? Like right now, what are you guys thinking? Are you in support of the current, war situations? Which one, right? We got Israel, Hamas, U.S. supporting Israel financially and kind of militarily. Then, of course, Ukraine and Russia. Like, what are you guys' thoughts on that? What's your position on that? Do we continue down these paths, or do we pull out? But yeah, I think what we're witnessing here is essentially like a global power play. Where nations pretty much they move the pieces on the chessboard. Indifferent to the human cost. Are we the public getting the full picture? Are we just kind of getting fragments tailored to fit particular narratives? I'm gonna let you guys let me know what you think on that, right? And at the end of the day, the people who are moving the chess pieces are not going to war themselves. They just tell the minions to go out there and essentially take care of business. So let me know what you guys think. I really want you guys' feedback. Let me see what some of you guys are saying. So we got Carolyn Tromby. Been digging your work, man. I really appreciate you. The old bag says that the jab was supposed to be free. How much are people paying for those nowadays? I'm just curious. Peaceful Warrior, that's a cool name, says that we need to take care of the USA. Hey, Peaceful Warrior, did you ever serve in the military by chance? I'm just curious. First, Love Ya says, stop all the wars. Let's get along for the greater good. Hey, let's get along. Let's run our businesses. Start increasing production of American made products here at home, minimize overseas dependency, and I'm not saying like alienate the United States from the rest of the world, but I'm saying we need to have a strategic business competitive advantage. And I think we've really compromised ourselves over the years, taking advantage of low cost goods that we can acquire from, mainly from countries like China, because their labor costs are so low. We can generally get materials very, very cheaply over there. But at the same time, we definitely compromise ourselves if we just completely stop all manufacturing and production here in the United States. So I think that is a national security risk to not be able to produce necessities here in the United States. We depend on other countries for so many things, drugs, for just like day-to-day necessities. You would be amazed at how much meat actually comes from overseas. And a lot of people don't even realize how much of that food from overseas is coming from overseas, and yet it's kind of marketed as if it was from the United States from day one. Do your research, folks. I've also got another channel called Truth Exposed. If you guys want to check it out, there's a link in the description down below this video. I actually have videos in there talking about specifically some of the fake foods that we have on the market that a lot of people had no idea were even fake. And I kind of use that channel to cover a lot of like documentary kind of stuff that may not necessarily be appropriate for this channel. So if you guys are interested in any of that information, definitely you can check out the link in the description down below this video for Truth Exposed. But yeah, guys, let me see what else you guys saying in here. Streghart says, wild times right now. You're absolutely right. Wild times. And the interesting thing about all of this wild stuff that's happening right now is that while all of these things are going on, the stock market, have you looked at the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones? Look at your 401ks. Look at your IRA brokerage statements. You will find that in spite of all of this, somehow the market is just quietly moving upward, right? The market is quietly moving upward. Investment accounts are looking more full than we've seen ever. Why? I mean, namely, if you look at the S&P 500, we're hitting all-time highs, guys. The Dow Jones is hitting all-time highs. You got to ask yourself why. What's going on here? You know, um, you know, I listen to the likes of Ray Dalio and the warnings that he's issued. He's one of these big hedge fund guys. I don't know how many of you guys listen to Peter Schiff talking about the financial future of the global economy, not to mention the United States. But something big's coming. Something big is coming, and I like to present you guys with the news and the updates so that you can position yourselves and your families to be in a much better position as we move forward with this wealth transfer that we've been literally been a part of for the last over 10 years. But if you're paying attention, you're going to see the signs, and you're going to realize that this wealth transfer that we have been experiencing and observing is beginning to accelerate. So I hope you guys are paying very close attention and you're taking heed to the information that I'm sharing with you guys. If you appreciate the news, if you appreciate the updates that I've been sharing with you guys, definitely hit the like button for me. I really, really appreciate it. By you guys hitting the like button, it literally just tells YouTube, hey, this was a good video, share it to somebody else. The reason why you're able to see this video is because someone else hit the like button and, told the YouTube algorithm to push it up. So definitely, if you haven't already, hit the like button. If you like the content and you want more content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to support the channel, there is a join button right down below. You can literally just hit the join button and join the members who are supporting the channel. I really appreciate all of you guys. Happy Saturday. I mean, because technically it's no longer Friday. It's like 12:35 a.m. So happy Saturday. I hope the weather starts picking up. We're still dealing with this whole polar vortex situation, but hopefully we get some warmer days in the future. I do not like the cold. That's why I'm wearing this super warm fleece. But anyway, guys, I wish you guys the best. Let's keep our prayers praying for peace. Let's put our hands together and pray for peace. And I look forward to hanging out with you guys on the next live or the next video. You guys take care and be safe.